Welcome to another episode as I'm exploring the world's greatest and most deadliest fighters ever. So if you saw my first one, it was on Count Dante. If you haven't, please go see it. My second one was on Tom Cameron and his no-touch knockout. He's known as the human stun gun. This third one, and when I initially started this, I was going to just do 3. But I'm thinking maybe I'll do a few more because there are a few more out there. And I've been ruminating on it the last couple nights. And it's just not right to put it to 3. I should give people more of a choice and a decision of who they think is the world's deadliest fighter. But this episode is the great George Dillman. Yes, George Dillman, also a 10th Dan in martial arts. Let me just go over some of Dillman's bio here real quick. George A. Dillman, 10th degree black belt in Rikyu Kempo Tamari Te, honored by Black Belt Magazine in 1997 as Instructor of the Year. So he's in the Black Belt Magazine Hall of Fame and is one of USA's best known and well-established martial arts personalities. Now, Black Belt, I don't know if they still do. I don't subscribe to them any longer, and over the years they've gotten smaller, as most magazines have, and not as much content. But they used to have this yearly annual Black Belt Hall of Fame Awards. And I remember when I saw that article on George Dillman. At the time, I was subscribing to Black Belt Magazine and didn't miss an issue. George Dillman came to the attention of the martial arts press when he was competing in the early 1960s. By the middle of that decade, he had started running his own tournament called the Northeast Open Karate Championships. This competition was held annually, the first kicking off in Palmer Park, Maryland in 1966. The site was moved to Suitland, Maryland in 1967 and moved again to Reading, Pennsylvania in 1968, where it was held until 1996. Official Karate Magazine in 1982 described Dillman as one of the winningest competitors karate has ever known. Dillman was a 4-time national karate champion in 1969 through 1972, and during this period was considered and ranked among the top 10 competitors in the nation by major karate magazines. During his 9-year competitive career, Dillman won a total of 327 trophies in fighting, forms, breaking, and weapons. Well, think about that. That's 4 areas: fighting, forms, breaking, and weapons, winning 327 trophies. That is amazing. Now, granted, some people consider trophies just dust collectors. And I'm sure, as humble as he is, he does the same. But wow, 327 trophies. I find it just amazing. As I'm thinking about it, he's a champion. He's competed for 9 years, champion for 4. During the same time that we had Chuck Norris, Joe Louis. If he started in 1969, it's at the end of the tail of people like Mike Stone, Skipper Mullins. And then, of course, we had a lot of other great fighters around that same time period starting out. They would come a little bit later, the Bill Wallaces and Benny Hinn's, I guess. I wonder if George Dillman ever fought Chuck Norris. Chuck Norris. I probably should do one on Chuck Norris, but nah. Even though he was a 6-time world champion, 7-time U.S. champion in point fighting, and is trained with, the Machado brothers in jiu-jitsu, and is actually trained with Bruce Lee a little bit and taught Bruce Lee how to kick higher, is the rumor mill. And, I know Chuck Norris can probably stop World War III with his bare hands. Yeah, he can't compete against George Dillman. What was I thinking? I'm so stupid. All right, let me get back. How many tournaments a week would you have to go through in a 9-year period to get that many trophies and compete all around? That's a lot of traveling, a lot of competing. Not much time for another type of life, with family, wife, and seminars. Well, I digress. Because of his perseverance, Dillman's martial arts talents have earned him widespread U.S. media coverage. He has appeared on 35 national TV shows, including Real People. I remember that show. Shows my age. Mike Douglas, I remember that show. Kind of shows my age. PM Magazine. Huh. I remember that show. Don't remember Evening Magazine and NBC Sports Machine. By the way, I know of somebody that was on PM Magazine. I think it was PM Magazine, and it came out in the early 80s when I was in high school. And he was on there briefly, and I actually got to be his demonstration partner once. So quite phenomenal. You'll see his picture, you'll recognize who he is. Dillman has also been featured 5 times in Ripley's Believe It or Not, and has been the subject of over 300 newspaper and magazine articles. I'm hoping all those appearances in the magazine articles and newspaper were good. I mean, after all, serial killers end up in magazine articles and newspapers. But I'm sure they were all great. Dillman, who was a professional boxer for 3.5 years, is the only person to have trained with both Bruce Lee and Muhammad Ali. In May of 1988, Dillman was inducted into the Berks County Sports Hall of Fame. He was the first martial artist to be inducted. In 2003, he was inducted into the Schuylkill County Sports Hall of Fame. I didn't know many counties had halls of fame. That's quite unbelievable. He has traveled the world, and he has preached his method of pressure point fighting, advanced pressure point fighting, and his no-touch knockout and how he uses chi. It is quite amazing, his chi and how he uses it. In some of these videos that are being displayed, you'll see how he's able to knock people over. Now there was this National Geographic show that tried to put him to the test, and Dillman, trying to save himself, talked about tongues in the wrong places and moving toes and all those things and being a true believer. I think he was just trying to help him save face, and he wasn't trying to hurt him. I really believe he wasn't trying to hurt that scientist, because with such immense power comes immense responsibility. And I'm really happy to show that he showed mercy on that scientist and didn't hurt him. That's how I see it. So, anyways, I'm adding George Dillman to this list. So, Count Dante, Tom Cameron, and George Dillman. And if Tom Cameron's ultimate mentor, I suspect, don't have any real data on this, is Benny Hinn, and Cameron learned from George Dillman, could Benny Hinn be George Dillman's master as well? I mean, they're only knocking out one person at a time with their chi. I mean, Benny Hinn's knocking out rows of people in the arena. I may just be onto something here. Further investigation is warranted. Anyways, hope you like this video. Leave comments. What do you think? Is George Dillman the most deadliest and greatest fighter of all time? Could he beat Cameron and the great late Count Dante? I'm thinking it would be a close match. Who do you think would win? Thank you very much, and have a spectacular week. Us.